Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 64. I'm Evan Lewis, and of course, I'm joined by Leo Andry.
Hello.
And Joe Latovsky.
Hey.
Now, that was remarkably well coordinated. I'm gonna wonder how the rest of this is gonna go. You've set the bar awfully high already. So, we'll see. I'm not sure what we're getting ourselves into tonight. But let's talk about what we've been playing. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, we have something very important to do, and that's to say thank you to our patrons. I don't know if we have any newbies joined us since last time.
I don't think so.
Alright, if it does turn out that that's the case, we will make sure to get that corrected as soon as possible. But that doesn't stop us from always saying thank you to all of our past and current patrons. We really appreciate everything you do. You help keep the lights on and encourage us like you would not believe. And if you want to find out more about what these great people are doing for us and what some of the extra things are that they get out of it, you can head over to patreon.com/thejodocast, and you can join the greatest strike force ever assembled. I think that's what we're calling them this week. Okay, now, what have we been playing? Joe!
It's been a while. I'm trying to think. Battlefront 2 beta, of course. Imperial Assault. Skirmish. It's been a long time since we've been able to continue our campaign, which is kind of annoying. But I think that's it. Probably some Destiny. I've probably played Destiny since we last recorded. Yeah, I totally did, because for sure we played on Tabletop Simulator.
Okay.
Yeah,
because
Destiny, Imperial Assault.
we haven't recorded since Empire at War came out, have we?
I don't think so. Our last one was the Q&A episode, I think.
No, we did RPG Talk.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Easily forgettable, I suppose. Okay. Well, how about Leo?
I've been playing Destiny since, Empire at War is out now. I've not been winning at it a whole lot, but I've been playing it. And the Battlefront beta, of course. Mm-hmm. I had to play it so I could accurately tell everyone how much I hate it.
Well, that's good. You have to know your enemy. Well, for me, Battlefront 2 beta, and not a lot else. I guess in fairness, I've been playing Wolf Among Us and non-Star Wars Destiny a bit, but not a lot of playing again. Schedule still hasn't gotten back to where I can actually play games, but hopefully that will work itself out. I even missed the L5R launch day, and that really... that killed me.
I wish I had time to play that game, but it would just be another LCG to pick up and not play like all the other LCGs I own.
The shut up and sit down review of that game made me think it was really boring and I wouldn't like it.
Oh.
The review was really interesting, where they were like, it's a really well put together game, and like the game, like there's a lot of strategizing and it's all kind of interesting, but they were like, but I'm not really sure it's actually fun to play. It's I don't know. It was kind of a weird review.
Well, we'll see. I still intend to get it. That and I keep bringing this up for some reason, the revised Netrunner core box. I think because of all the Blade Runnering going on right now, I'm pretty psyched for Netrunner.
It's not just you. The more you talk about it, the more you think maybe it'll happen to the Star Wars LCG.
I mean, if that's a thing, yes, that would be, They should pay attention. FFG, pay attention to the things that we say. And make those things happen. Because we're influential people.
Yep.
All right, well, I think everyone can probably guess what we're going to talk about tonight, being that it's October 11th, and the Battlefront 2 beta will be either has wrapped up or it will wrap up in a bit. By the time you hear this, it will most certainly have been wrapped up.
Also, I bet they read the title of this episode.
Oh, you're right. See, that's why we gotta do like a clever, pun title instead of just being like Battlefront 2.
Then people are gonna listen to it.
Well,
if I'm a person and I'd say, what do I want to listen to? Weird pun that gives me no idea what the episode's about, or very descriptive, slightly less clever title, I'd probably pick the descriptive one, right?
People that don't like clever things are not very clever themselves. I'm just saying.
You can be clever within the episode, but you got to get me into the episode first. I got to know what I'm in for.
I don't even want those people. They can stay away.
You only want people who are like, I have no idea what this is about. Let me try it out.
I want people who are faithful and download every episode and listen to it regardless. That's what I want.
Well, I'm saying, what if there's a brand new listener?
I don't know. Let's ask one of our patrons who's listening right now. He'll tell us what's what. Anyways. That's way off topic. That's not the topic that we're discussing, is the quality of listeners.
The entire episode debating our titles.
No, we're going to talk about Battlefront 2 beta. So, let's do that. I didn't put these notes together, so if we want to just talk about exactly how it's put out here, that's fine.
I feel like that works.
Okay, yeah, I thought we could start that with the good. Let's get the good stuff out of it.
What is going on?
He wants to play the music from...
Oh my goodness. He just wants to play Red Dead. That's all he wants. He just wants to start a Red Dead podcast.
That's all anybody wants.
Obviously.
I could do that. You want to do that?
Maybe, well, you know what? Maybe we should do a streaming playthrough of the first one, since we have it. And it's going to be a while.
It's not a Star Wars game. It's like the least Star Wars game ever.
Well, I mean, you could argue that Star Wars is largely based on Westerns and Kurosawa movies.
You could probably point to any genre and be like, well, Star Wars is kind of based on this.
So there you go. We have no problem with this whatsoever.
I'm not going to stretch that far.
You know you want to. Okay.
As much as I love things that aren't Star Wars, I got to draw the line for our brand.
All right. For the sake of the brand. All right. So let's talk about the stuff that we think is good, stuff that we liked at least with Battlefront 2 thus far. And of course, it's beta. They could fix some things. We'll see.
Yeah. And obviously we only got to see multiplayer stuff. There was no campaign in the beta.
So, Leo, good stuff.
Well, it definitely looks good. I mean, I guess you came in expecting that. I mean, you saw the trailers. If you played the first one, you knew that the graphics in that one were pretty phenomenal. They've continued this, although some of the reflections and stuff are a little off, like shiny things, like some of the gold and stuff on some of the decorations in various parts on Naboo.
So even the
glare coming off of them were kind of weird. But other than that, I thought the graphics were just phenomenal.
Like a couple times when I was a clone trooper in like a shadow, like the gloss of the armor looked kind of off to me. But yeah, it's pretty, especially when you get inside the throne or the palace on Theed.
And just in general, I liked this Theed map a lot more than probably pretty much any of the 40-player maps in all of Battlefront 1, 2.
Yes, I think that's one of the first things that's so striking is that I thought the design of the level was good and everything about it was so much more interesting.
I think it's pretty. I don't think the design of the map is that, if you took all the textures off, just made it blocks, it's not that exciting to me until you get inside, because it's a big gauntlet and there's kind of a no man's land and everyone's really spread out. There's not a lot of choke points and stuff.
Yeah, but I think just gameplay wise, the progression of the map works better logically.
It definitely starts out very open, and by the end of the map, it's like about as close quarters as you can get.
Yeah, that is one
cool.
thing. That's another thing I like about it is as the level progresses, the style of gameplay changes. Like at the beginning, you can be like a specialist and just sort of hang back and snipe people as they're coming in. But towards the end of the map, you can't really play a specialist anymore. I mean, you probably can if you're really good, but I'm not.
So aside from looking better, we talked about the progression of that particular level. Any other things, audio-visual wise, that really struck a chord with you, Leo?
I don't know. I think I like, just in general, the audio in this one seems better. Like, I didn't like the way explosions and stuff sounded in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they've tweaked that a little bit. I like it better. I like a lot of just kind of the weird voice lines that they put in there. Like both the droids and the clone troopers had all kinds of incidental voice lines that they would yell out in the middle of the battle.
And some that, like if the clones are hitting the MTT with the disruptors, like my droid goes, "Oh, those disruptors really work." The droids have funny lines.
Oh, so let's talk about that. So, I mean, we knew we were going to get battle droids coming into this one, and I remember on original Battlefront, I never liked them, but I don't.
Same.
But I like these guys. I don't know what do you think besides much better writing and better voices? Why are they good?
The voice, I think, because when Battlefront, the first one was out, I didn't want to play as the droids because I didn't have any like attachment to them, and they were kind of boring. And it was so much more fun to step into the armor of a clone trooper. This time, they sound like they do in the Clone Wars show, and I kind of have a soft spot for those guys because they're so pathetic, and they've got the funny voice lines. So I feel like I can, like, almost... It's just more fun to run around and be one of those silly droids than just kind of the boring, heartless droids.
We have agreement in chat.
Like when you... If you're playing as the officer and you drop a turret, sometimes he'll say, "Good luck, turret."
Speaking of the officer, I liked the classes too. I think Battlefront needed to get the classes back. I think that works a lot better than just, the star card system that they were using last time for all of your different abilities and stuff. I just like this a lot better. And to go along with that, then using the battle points to buy the other reinforcements. Mm-hmm. If you want to get the upgraded rocket trooper or whatever.
The rocket trooper is my favorite thing. Favorite thing about the whole beta is just playing as the rocket troopers. One, I love the battle point system, and I think it's great that you don't have everybody running around with a jetpack. But the way the rocket trooper works in this game is just too much fun for me. You're just zipping around with like the left and right, just kind of sliding on the ground like you're on roller skates.
And he's really effective too. I mean, it's not just, oh look, he can jump really high. It's really effective.
It doesn't feel like cheap to me either, though. It's not like, oh, someone's the rocket trooper. It's like, oh crap, there's a rocket trooper. I don't know. I never like felt like I was being dirty while playing as it, or that the people killing me with it were like cheap in any way.
Yeah,
I don't know. That unit felt really good to me.
For me, when I was, just getting used to handling it again, a lot of it is how it handles compared to other first-person or third-person shooters. I didn't like the venting system, or I just think of it as reloading. And in Battlefront 1-2, it always bothered me because it, instead of just reloading like in most other first-person shooters, you had to have the timing down on that, or else it just didn't work.
You didn't have to.
Then I never got the hang of it.
No, he's just saying you could just wait.
Yeah,
you
and I hate
try
that.
and nail the timing and save yourself 1 second, or just let it do its thing and reload slightly longer. It's straight ripped off from Gears of War.
Yeah, well, there's probably a reason I don't really play Gears of War either, because I don't really care for that. But yeah, I didn't like that in the first one. Amongst other things to not like, I didn't like that. But this one just works so much better for me.
I gotta say, I really like the reload system in Battlefront 2, which is even more like the Gears of War system, and exactly like the last game, except with one other thing you can try and nail the timing on. I feel like you must have been missing something from the last game real big.
No, it's decidedly different.
You hit well, it is a little bit, no? When you overheat, like when you spend a clip, so to speak,
yeah,
you just have to push the button once as the thing is sliding, and if you get it right, it goes faster. If you hit it in a different spot, it goes faster, and you get a special, like, bonus, right? That's all it is.
That is not one bit how it was for me.
No.
I'm talking about Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I know.
And you can also reload when your clip's not actually all used up. You can vent your heat at any time.
And that's what I like.
Which is the big improvement.
That is a little different. Although I think if you let it sit there, it'll cool down on its own, I think. Maybe it depends on the gun. But
along with that, I felt like everything in this game, and I know you've mentioned this before too, Joe, is that everything feels heavier. There's a weight and a heft to everything, and I think part of that is just getting it to feel more like Battlefield, maybe, and especially with how the actual laser blasts themselves. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit, how those are drastically different. But I like the heavier weight of everything.
Yeah, I really like the physics feel. I really liked the ragdoll in the last game because it was just kind of entertaining. This one feels a lot more. It reminds me a lot of Force Awakens and maybe Rogue One. Like when you see troopers fall, it just looks like they're a lot heavier than they were in the last game, and they're falling a little bit more realistically. But you can still get them tossed around by explosions and stuff. And I really like it's very kind of Force Awakens when you hit somebody with a blaster. You don't always see it because things move so fast, but there's like a char mark that sometimes has like a kind of a singed bright ember in the middle, which is appreciated. Because I don't think they had that in the last game. It was like, oh, you'd randomly like get some scuffs on your armor as the match went on, and that was about it. Anything else that hasn't already been mentioned, Joe, that you particularly liked? I really liked... so one big problem the last game had, in some of the DLC game modes, particularly the one that comes to mind, the Battle Station, where there's the first phase where the Empire's trying to defend their Star Destroyer, and then the second phase where the Empire's trying to keep R2 from getting rescued, and then the last phase. In that, if the Empire wins the first phase, that's it. They win. Game's over. Move on. And that was annoying because then you never got to play the other two phases. And everyone was like, well, that's dumb. And this time, on the Galactic Assault on Theed, they fixed that, where if the clones succeed in taking down the health of the MTT to 0, the game still moves on and you still get to fight in the throne room. But the clones get a reward, because when you reach that point, the droids get a certain number of reinforcements, and that number is just based on how much health the MTT has left. I've played where we got it there almost full health as the droids, and we got 100 reinforcements going into the throne room, and I played as the clones where we killed it all the way, or, made its health go down. And then the droids only get like 30 reinforcements coming into the clone room, or the throne room. Also the clone room, I guess. Which I think that works a lot better, because now you actually get to experience the full thing, but the team that did better is still, heavily rewarded for their performance. Because it was always annoying in the last game when the Empire... A lot of times when I was playing as Empire on Battle Station, but I just kind of want to let them get through so we can play with the part with R2. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I really like Starfighter mode in this one. I actually started playing that a lot near the end. I had some big issues with the controls right away, and it took me a while to learn them. Partially because there was a bug that they'd never fixed in the beta with the stick layout, because I wanted to use a custom control layout, but the one I wanted to use was bugged to not work the way I needed it to, so I had to teach myself the way that felt weird to me.
Yeah.
But that mode is really fun. There's a lot going on. It's very cinematic. I've even played in first person for a while because it's so pretty. I really like Starfighter mode, and I like that there's always more to do than just dogfighting. I spent most of my time as a Y-Wing and a TIE Bomber, like, doing objective stuff, not even dogfighting.
Leo, I almost hate to ask, but what were your impressions of Starfighter mode?
I thought flying starfighters around on Theed was so awful that I never tried Starfighter mode.
No, I did. Yeah, see, that was my problem. I did on Theed, and I just was like, nope. And then I didn't play Starfighter mode for a while. And then I did, and I had all sorts of trouble with the thumbsticks. And then I tried it again. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to figure out these controls and teach myself. Because usually I switch a bunch of stuff around. And then I'm like, oh, once I got the hang of it, like, Starfighter mode was a lot of fun. I think it might have been the most fun of the modes available in the beta after I sunk a lot of time into it.
Well, for me also the problem is like, I didn't even get to play on Takadana very much because of just the number of people playing in the PC beta. It seemed like half the time, unless I was doing Galactic Assault, I had a hard time getting a match.
Weird.
Yeah, so, like, every time I did try to play Starfighter mode a few times, but I just got too bored sitting there in the queue and gave up. I don't know, maybe it was just the times a day I was trying or something like that. I don't know, but after the first few days, I just kind of gave up.
Yeah, I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with that. The new control scheme, once you got used to it, was so much better than the last game's kind of oversimplified version.
I remember one of the first things I asked you was if they took away the mapped, like, auto stunts.
They kind of push this button to flip around
real
quick. Which, I think they could have kept that, but I think they think their new control system makes that kind of unneeded, which it kind of does. But I had a lot of fun, especially now that you can control your roll. And since there is really no up and down, I found myself a lot of times kind of like upside down in relation to the shipyard, but it helped because then I could see my targets better. And I did manage to play as the Falcon and Slave 1 during that. Although I crashed right away with Slave 1. But the Falcon was pretty fun. It's fun. You get hit and Han will be like, oh, it's not my fault. And you hear Chewie go, arr. Some of the incidental voice lines in Starfighter mode are funny too. You just hear someone go, this might be my last mission, boys.
Well, let's stick with the theme of things that Leo doesn't like, and he can lead the way. This is his area of expertise. Tell us more things that he doesn't like about the beta.
Well, I still don't like third person. I'm resigned to the fact that's in this game now, but whatever.
I do want to comment on that really quick.
I'm going to put that in my good... Before we leave what's good about the game, I'm just going to say third person. Okay, now we can continue to what's bad about it.
Well, and I didn't even think about it. It started me off in first person. I was just like, yep, I'm playing a game. And I did not even register with me to switch at any point.
That was like literally the first thing I did. Because it makes it so easy. You can switch mid-game whenever you want, which is really great. Because sometimes I'll switch to first if I'm like kind of stuck in a weird corner and it's hard to tell where my gun is, if I'm going to be hitting the cover I'm by or not. So sometimes it's worth it to switch into first for me. But
yeah, it's real useful to have third person because I found myself using it so I could peek around corners and stuff like that. But I hate that you can do that. It just doesn't seem right.
But the character models are so pretty.
Yeah, well, you can look at all your other 39 other teammates and 40 opponents running around the map.
Myself.
Any other points of contention for you, Leo?
I still don't like heroes at all. They bother me less in this one, I guess, because
they die faster, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not quite as overpowered as they were in the first one, but they also, in some ways, it's almost worse now because of the star point system. So if you're the guy at the top, you could just keep getting the hero kind of over and over. Well, not over and over, but
unless you're really good with the hero, by the time you get killed with it, you probably can't afford to be it immediately.
Like, I don't know.
I've done that with the rocket.
I've been in. I was in more than one match where the same guy got a hero more than once in a round. So, I mean, I didn't mean like right away, but they're going to be getting it. It's. I don't think going to be that difficult for the top person to get it several times, at least a couple times in a longer map.
Yeah, I never actually played as the heroes in Galactic Assault. I'd play as Darth Maul in that arcade mode, but I was like, ooh, I can afford a rocket trooper. Yes, please. I'm like, I never wanted to save up because I could always be the rocket trooper.
Every damn time I did try and save up, we always, the map would end when I'd hit 5,000 points.
One thing I've seen suggested, and I'll actually be kind of surprised if it's not implemented, maybe not at launch, but later on, is like a queue for the heroes, because a lot of people are like, ooh, I've got enough for a hero, but someone's already playing as that hero that I want to be. And instead of keeping an eye waiting for you to see the hero dies, then you get yourself killed so you can play as them right away, you would just pick them, and then whenever that person dies, it would give you a little prompt, do you want to play as Darth Maul now? And you could say yes, and then it would spawn you as that. Kind of like in the original Battlefront 2, when you had enough points to be a hero, it just popped up on your screen. It's like, oh, do you want to play as so-and-so? Because if you really want to play as the hero, it's kind of and someone's already playing as them, you got to get the timing real right with when you're going to die, which is kind of annoying.
You could just sit in the character select screen until they die.
Yeah, see, that's still a problem.
Well, things that I don't care for, spawning. Still, unless I'm missing something, it still sucks.
There's still no choice involved. For some reason, it didn't feel as annoying to me, but we only played the two ground-based modes. Yeah. The only time it was annoying was on Takodana. Mm-hmm. The resistance would always spawn around where you're trying to bring the package, which made it near impossible to deliver it because there was always people camping it. But I never felt in Battlefront, the last one, oh, I'm really hammering on the left objective and I die and it spawns me on the right side of the map. I never felt that way where it was ooh, the one thing I want is right over here, and then it spawned me far away from what I was trying to do. But it's still kind of annoying you can't pick.
I always hated it. I always felt like I was getting spawned in the middle of enemy troops all the time in the first one. Yeah. I didn't get this in this one. I mean, I think at least it sucks that you can't pick a spawn point like you could in say Battlefield 2
or Battlefront 1-1 and 2-1.
Yeah. When you pick your class, and then it should show you an overhead map with the places you can spawn. I don't see what's so hard about that.
Yeah. Or, and you can't even spawn on, people in your party. That's...
Oh, let's talk
That's
about
for the next category.
We'll save that. We'll save that for the.
I want to save that for the next. Yeah, we're just in the bad.
Oh,
yeah, we're not to ugly. We're not to the ugly section.
That's
yet.
Fair. Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough. There was something I was gonna say that I liked, and now I don't even remember. Oh, so many doves.
Too many doves on the.
It was like a freaking
They
John
fly out of
Woo,
the floor.
John Woo movie, starring Jim Darkmagic. Just doves all the time.
I noticed some texture pop in on Takodana, which felt really does this have to exist in this game? With the trees kind of popping in and the texture on the forest floor. Hopefully they fix that.
I guess I didn't notice it at all on PC, but
like I said, I had some trouble with the flight controls, which was one, just getting used to a new system, and two, the control scheme I really wanted being bugged. Like, each stick does two things. One is pitch and roll, or pitch and yaw, and the other is throttle and roll. And you should, theoretically switch those two things from the left to those two things on the right. But it only switched one of those functions for each one, so it got real scrambled for the thing I wanted. But whatever. I got used to it, and then I'll get used to it again. Something that really kind of... I like this for Starfighter mode. I really don't like it for Trooper mode. There's no collision detection between you and other players. In Starfighter mode, it's cool, because if I'm going head-on with the Falcon and we fly through each other, we're not dead, because that's usually just kind of annoying in Starfighter mode when you just crash into another player, and that's that. So it's really nice in that. In Trooper mode, it's just really weird when you're just running through other players. It might only be friendly players, but still, it just feels really weird and immersion breaking to me in that mode.
You know what's immersion breaking to me?
No.
As a droid, I cannot just mow down all of my clone captives at the beginning of the map. I shoot them and nothing happens. It makes me so angry.
Shoot the civilians?
Yeah, I try and kill them too. Nothing happens.
The Olympic sprinters of Theed.
That's the worst thing ever.
It's just weird to me. It's I get that maybe you want to avoid a bunch of people getting stuck in a doorway, but that's not going to happen so often that you need to turn off collision detection between players. But maybe when the game comes out, then we can all stack up on the same spot, so we're all inside each other, and then spam our emotes, and it's going to look like some sort of crazy mutant. Let's try that. Another thing that kind of bugged me at first, but I got used to, is the crouch and the roll button. In this game, it's tap to roll, hold to crouch. And I kind of wish it was tap to crouch, double tap to roll, like it was in previous games, but that's just something I'll have to get used to.
I guess that was how I was still playing it, but that's what I was going to say. I forgot to say what I liked, and that was the roll feels so much better, so much so that I'm actually able to stay alive for more than 20 seconds at a time.
That's still my pro tip to everyone listening. Don't forget there's a roll button, because people never remember that in the last game, which is understandable because they added it late, and that's also why it sucked half the time. But I never see anybody rolling in the Battlefront 2 beta.
I feel like the roll in this one, it's way easier to kill people while they're rolling in this one.
I don't know how to use it. It might just be the Gears of War player in me, but I just have to roll everywhere once the shooting starts.
For me, no, in Battlefront 1, 2, when someone would roll, I don't know, I thought the rolling action was really weird, and I'm sure it's because they added it in afterwards. It never felt natural. They sort of did this weird flail around on the ground, and then they would sort of just slide away, and it was
half the times I would just roll in place because of just it being a buggy feature.
Yeah.
Be all right, I'm going to die, I better roll, and then I just do a little somersault in place and die.
See, but I always felt in the first one, people would roll 4 times as far as humanly possible.
You could sort of glitch it with some of the hero characters, like Nyan Nub and the Royal Guards. If you did a roll with them sideways up some stairs, you'd fly 50 feet. You'd launch off the stairs.
But in this one, I don't know, it feels like people roll, your characters roll at a more reasonable distance and speed and stuff. And, they're just kind of doing their little somersaults on the ground. I killed people all the time doing that. In this one. Nice.
Yeah, I really like that feature. That was one of my favorite features from the original Battlefront 2, and that's life in Gears of War, which is one of my other favorite competitive games. So I'm happy that it actually works in this one.
Yeah, it works really well, and people might think...
And it's every direction.
Yeah. People might think we're being facetious when we say, roll a lot, and no, roll a lot. Do it.
See, I am being facetious when I say roll a lot, because, like I said, You're like so much easier to shoot when you're rolling around, I think.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm living a lot
don't know.
longer.
If you see Leo in battle, stand still. He won't know what to do.
He's like a T-Rex. He can only see you if you roll.
I can't. He's not rolling. I don't have a shot. One other thing I would put under the bad category, a lot of people on Reddit seem to agree with me. A lot of less people seem to not agree with me. I think the blaster bolts feel weird in Battlefront 2. To me, they look more like tracer bullets, like tracer rounds from real guns than Star Wars blasters. I felt like the last game did it perfectly. This one, they feel like they're not thick enough. They're not, I don't know, they're too thin, and they move faster, which is just kind of a gameplay necessity to make the game more competitive. I think the last title, they actually referenced movie footage to get the velocities right, which made the gameplay less digestible for more, core gamers. Mm-hmm. So this time they sped it up, which I think makes them harder to see, which is just kind of a problem for me because they seem too thin, they're too hard to see. There's not like a fun light show happening when you're in a gunfight indoors like you got in the other games where like, oh, this is Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Now it feels more like regular guns with tracer rounds.
But
I guess and I don't know, maybe that's a console graphics thing. I guess even after you mentioned it, I just didn't see it. I couldn't see what you were talking about.
You didn't play the last game as much, where they're like, they're big and they give off a lot of light, all the lasers you shoot.
Now, I was going to say something else. That you keep jogging my memory for things that I like, and the aiming feels incredibly, at least to me, feels incredibly better in this one. And I don't know if that's a trade-off, if they decided, if there was some meeting where they said, we want to make this more like a real gun fight instead of a Star Wars gun fight. So we're going to put an emphasis on using, I wouldn't say iron sights, but I mean, they're not all actual iron sights, and less on watching blaster bolts fly across the field. I don't know.
I like that. Yeah, I like that aiming actually does something now. Same thing with like crouching and not running around. Whereas
I found myself hip shooting a lot still and still finding my target, but I agree, the aiming feels nice.
Yeah, I think when you're in a more close quarters battle, I mean, obviously you're going to be hip shooting most of the time. But, like, especially like once you get inside the palace on Theed. But in the beginning parts of the map where you're doing more long distance shooting, you can stop, kind of take a knee and be a lot more accurate with your gun, which I appreciate.
Well, is that all we've got for things that are just bad and not just sort of revolting? Because we can get to the revolting stuff.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think the term is ugly.
Go ahead, you can do the noise.
Unless that's copyrighted, is it? Can we not say good, bad, and the other thing in the same sentence?
We should do, what was it, on Clone Wars Blu-ray Season 2? They did a good and the bad and the ugly motif, but it was slightly different.
I don't recall.
Well, I'll dig it out later.
We'll just stick with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, and unless you can find it, I don't know.
No, I'm not going to do that. All right, Leo. Ugly crap.
Well, where to start? We're going to start with those loot crates.
Oh.
This is also in my ugly. I put this in the ugly batch as well. Didn't bother me until I actually got my hands on it.
It was bothering me from the time they announced it, just because the idea of putting any kind of non-cosmetic item into a loot crate like that just is just 100% not how I feel it should be at all.
Not in a $60 game. If it was a free game, go for it. But it's not a free game.
Yeah, okay. Well, see, even then, I still feel like it's, free game's a little bit better, but still, it's like if you're gonna have any kind of competitive player versus player stuff in a game, it's just like pay to win is inexcusable.
Yeah, there's a lot of high-profile YouTubers right now talking about how it's pay to win, and as far as I know, EA or DICE haven't come forward and like given clarification on like, no, it's not what you think. This was just kind of how it is in the beta, but in the full game, these few things are going to be different. The rates are going to be different, etc. So as it stands, it's definitely pay to win.
Yeah, and I mean,
and at first I was like, oh, I can live with the loot thing if it means all the DLC is going to be free for everybody and keeps the game alive longer. But the way it's being done is really annoying. Although I think I heard that in the full game you'll be able to you could like buy a specialist crate or a assault crate. Like you can buy crates specific to classes because I only want to play as a specialist and the officer right now, so I don't want to buy a crate that's giving me stuff for the heavy, which is how it was in the beta.
Yeah, like I always hated when I'd be like, oh great, a Boba Fett item. Here's the card I will probably never ever use because my desire to play heroes is 0.
Yeah, and unlike other games, it looks like you don't even have the option to like break down for like the crafting parts to make the cards you want.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
If you could do that, that would honestly help out. That would go a long ways towards improving this system. If I could take that Boba Fett card and just break it down.
Yeah, and then get another card that you actually wanted. Another thing that's weird about as it stands, all of your progression, as far as upgrading and getting yourself better, is stuck in these boxes. You can complete some challenges that will give you boxes that are guaranteed to have certain items, I think. I think that's how it was with the weapons. Like, if I complete this challenge, it's going to give me a box, and in this box, I'm guaranteed to get this weapon and then, like, 2 other random things, which that actually sounds fine to me. But there's no... Because you can be a tool and use real-world money to buy these crates, or you can use your credits that you earn in-game. And the credit payout on the matches is dumb. It's like between 100 and 180 credits a match. And as far as I know, it's not dependent on your performance in the match, which is weird because they're like, oh, okay, now being a hero is going to be dependent on your performance, all these battle points. But the credits you get is just kind of fixed. I think in one of the videos I was watching, they had a guy do just nothing and the other guy was like MVP and they both got the same amount of credits at the end of the match.
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't want to, like, deny credits to a person just because, they suck.
Well, you also don't want to just encourage people to just join a game, be AFK and spawn the whole game, and still be able to earn credits. Like, you should be able, if you're shooting people and attempting to play the objective, you're still going to get points and you should get rewarded for it. That's how it was in the last game. You got, I think if you made 10,000 points in a match, you'd get 1,000 credits or something like that.
Yeah, but see, the thing is since they are obviously looking at this as a new revenue stream, they have to highly control how many free crates a person is going to get.
Right. Well, see, yeah, that's why this is in the ugly bucket.
See,
even just giving us the crafting parts for completing matches, like, give me 5 if I do good or something, and eventually I'll be able to craft the cards I want.
Yeah. See, that's why I like, a game like Overwatch. That's another game I paid, $60 for or something.
Yep.
But the loot crates in that don't bother me because it's nothing but just like skins and voice lines and shit,
Right.
I don't get extra powerful bullets for Soldier 76 in a loot crate or whatever,
Yeah, that's what it's like in Gears of War 4. I think that's the first big game I played with that sort of system. And in that, it's just cosmetic items and things called bounties, which you can equip one in the match. And if you it's basically a little challenge, and if you meet it, you'll get a little bit of extra XP or in-game credits. So it's just bounties and cosmetic items, and that's fine. And there's nothing else that it could affect the gameplay with. And looking at Battlefront 2 system, it's really weird and sad. And I hope it doesn't just make me go, all right, I guess I'm just going to play arcade and campaign and forget about multiplayer, because the gameplay is really fun, is really good, I think, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, even I'll agree with you on that, is they did improve the game, just in general, the whole gameplay is improved over Battlefront 1 2, but I mean, this whole loot crate thing is such a downer that it makes me not want to play it.
Yeah, I feel the same way, which is really annoying. Maybe if I play it and I don't notice, like, if I get killed by somebody and I don't know that they killed me because they spent $1,000 getting all the best cards, then maybe I'll be okay. But it does show you the star cards of the person who killed you when they kill you. So I'm going to get killed, and once he's got all 3 of his cards maxed out, I'm going to be like, oh, I've got like 2 cards that have like not leveled up, so I feel bad.
The thing is like, I mean, there was a little bit of this in the first one because you had to level up to unlock your cards. But the thing once you played a certain amount of time, you were guaranteed to get those cards. Here in this, with everything being random, you could be some lucky shit. And, in your first crate you open up, you pop, 3 gold items or whatever.
I got a gold, it's something for the bomber that increased my defense by 100%. It's like the max level of this card. I'm like, oh crap. So I tried it out, and I went through a whole match, and the only time I died was from crashing into stuff. Nobody ever shot me down. They tried, but I never died from getting shot down. And I don't know if that's, the card is really good or they sucked or something, but I was like, this is weird. Like, it's fun for me because I can just putz along and shoot the objectives and do that sort of stuff, but it felt kind of dirty.
Well, okay. For me, a lot of the complaints that I have, I think, stem from it being a beta. Because that first time that we jumped on and tried to party up, not even talking about squads yet, but just partying up, we couldn't. Yeah,
there was.
So, it's just like, okay, I understand, but you're making my experience not as fun. But I'll try to look.
Yeah, the Xbox version had a bug where if you looked at your friends list, everyone was playing it. It said they were on the Xbox home screen, so it wouldn't let you invite each other to play together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's also why it wouldn't let me stream the first night, because you can't stream the home screen of your Xbox. So it was like, nope, can't do that.
So yeah, just things like that made it less fun for me. But I know it's a beta, so I'm not going to harp on it too heavily. And the only other thing, besides what we'll talk about in a second, that I just found funny, and it's not bad, I get it, I get why they're doing it, but being able to just sprint and roll and jump as a battle droid, I get it. I know why we have to have that in the game. It just struck me as really, really weird. Because we should just be, walking slowly forward, shooting things, and then getting
especially the B2s.
Yeah.
Always just see them, lumbering around. They just sort of stomp everywhere in the movies and stuff.
Fine if they've removed, because every character has the roll button, even if they're not actually rolling. Like the B2s, if you hit that, they kind of hop to the side. I would be very fine with removing that feature from them, giving them a little bit more health, and slowing them down a little bit. Just make them even more tanky if you limit their mobility as the trade-off, because I don't know, it is kind of silly seeing that, but it didn't really bother me. It would be fun if in one of the arcade modes, you play as a clone and all the battle droids do behave the way you expect them to, just walking straight at you. There's three clone troopers and you gotta hold off against 100 droids or something. That sounds fun.
I gotta find 39 other people now to play a game on Thief with, and we'd be like, okay, now everybody, at the start of the match here, we're not going to run off to the sides and hide. We're all going to line up and just march right down the road here.
Brilliant.
It's going to work, trust me.
Let's stream that
We'll
one.
figure that. Yeah, we can get. I don't. How many of our listeners play on PC? We can do it. You make a private match.
Maybe we'll get PC and Xbox crossplay eventually here.
And then you can show us how it's done.
I will. I'll show you how it's done.
I know.
So, what do you guys think of the star cards this time? Like just pretend that the loot crate system isn't there, and just take the star cards in isolation.
I think it's because they have to work within the class now. Mm-hmm. They're essentially completely different mechanical items in this game. I think they're fine. It still kind of feels weird to me that you can get better versions of these cards. That feels odd. I think that would work a lot better for me if... Okay, so I've got 3 slots for my cards. And, think of like building a squad in X-Wing or building a team in Destiny. I've got like 10 points to spend. So if I want to use my gold level card, that costs like 5 of my points. So that means my other 2 cards are going to be not maxed out. So that would be kind of balanced. So instead of somebody having 3 fully maxed cards, you could have 1 fully maxed card and 2 weak ones, or 3 even ones, something like that.
Yeah, but again, that would disincentivize people to buy loot crates. So they ain't gonna do that. You said
without loot. You said to not consider loot crates.
I know.
So I'm describing my feelings.
Yes.
The
thing is, I kind of feel the same way. Is like for the most part, I like the star card system in this one a lot better than the way it worked in the first one. The last one was just like pick your loadout, and that was kind of it. This one is and I like
different.
And I like that you can like replace some of your abilities, like with the heavy. You can, if you assuming you actually get the right card, you can swap out your shield and carry a grenade launcher instead.
There's just ones that replace your baked-in abilities, because each class has 3 like default abilities, and then there's like almost like in the last game they were called perks. In this, or are they called perks? I think they're called traits, but now they're just like kind of perks that give you some sort of passive ability. Yeah, like they might reduce cooldowns, or like you said, you got the one that increases your TIE bomber's defense or whatever. Yeah, which I think is okay. I do prefer games where, because in the last game, you had a star card or an upgraded version of that card that usually just had a better cooldown, I think was the only difference. And I kind of like it better when games put, even if everyone's using different weapons and different abilities and different loadouts, have everybody on an even playing field. It's feels kind of silly to me when, I've got 100% defense buff and the next guy has the same star card but has a 10% defense buff or something. Yeah. But I'm hoping I don't notice it. In the heat of battle, maybe I just won't ever notice that everybody's so different in what they've got going on as far as, power level, not just a loadout. And I think, that's what makes loot crates, though, the loot crates even worse, is just the fact that, like, I actually kind of like the way they're doing star cards this time, but then there's all the loot crate to deal with that just means I will never enjoy it. Yeah, like you said, these star cards are so different. I'm actually surprised they stuck with that same name, because they are just so drastically changed from what they were before. But yeah, I like them too. A lot of people are complaining about the artwork, because in the alpha, they basically just had icons in these, kind of like a neon light scheme, and they had different colors based on, if they were, how leveled up they were. And I kind of agree. I kind of like those better. They look more Star Warsy. These ones just look like trading cards. See, I don't know. I feel the opposite. I think I like this better. Like I hated the graphic design of the star cards in the first one, where it was just the icons and stuff for so many of them. Yeah.
just in general, I hated the design of Battlefront 1. I thought the UI in that one was terrible. So bad. It was one of the worst UIs of any game I've played. They have improved a lot in this one.
That should go on the box.
They've improved a lot, Leo from the Jodo cast. Just a little call out on the back.
All right. So I think
I can't
probably our last feature.
Our last drop in the ugly bucket.
Yep.
So I think this is less the whole loot crate pay to win thing. Like, I can't cancel my pre-order for one because I am so excited for the campaign, and I sort of feel like part of this podcast obligates me to play it as soon as possible. But the loot crate honestly made me go, should I cancel my pre-order?
Oh my.
And just wait it out. But the other thing that I think is really, really, really bad, but not quite as game tarnishing, is their squad/party system. Ignoring the fact that the beta was bugged and it didn't let us play together. After we did get to play together in the same party, so we're in the same room.
It still doesn't matter.
It really didn't, because you spawn, it randomly populates your squad with 4 other players, and it says you get bonus points if you stick close to them. Like in the last game, if you stuck close to your partner, your cooldowns refresh faster, which was cool. In this one, you can't stick close to your people because as soon as you spawn, everyone runs in different directions, and there's no way of telling if they're on your team or not, or in your squad or not. So whatever, as soon as you spawn, your so-called squad is just gone. And your friends that I paid $60 because I want to play this game with my best buddy who also paid $60, and we want to play together because that's our thing. Where are you? Oh, I think I'm on the other side of the map, and I spawned with these guys I don't know, and I'm like, oh, I spawned over here. You're in the same battle, but you never actually play together, especially on Galactic Assault where it's so big. You never see each other. On Taco Donna, it was a little bit better because it's a little bit smaller, so you bump into each other more, and then you can stick together. But it's so annoying that you just it bugs me.
I'm not sure why they call it a squad system because there's no squads.
It doesn't even even if it puts an icon above your squad mates' heads, I never noticed. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and stick with my squad this time. We're going to squad it up. Nope, they just ran in different directions.
Yeah, like the only way you'd ever have anybody to stick with is if one of the people in your so-called squad picked officer. Then you've kind of got this circle on the ground to follow around, you know.
That's just a tiny minor thing. I wish the clone officers just had armor in a different variant than the uniform, but that's not a big deal. Because that's Battlefront 2. A lot of it was just me playing with my cousin, and we would be partners, and even though the partner system was kind of lame, it worked really good when there was just 2 of us who wanted to play. And this time, I played with him and Evan in the beta, and it was just like, okay, you can't work together. You can't. It's so fun playing these games, like sticking close to your friends and communicating with what's happening, and that's almost impossible with this system.
It's just unbelievable. It's like if you are in with a group, why would it not make a squad out of your group?
Right. You could even keep it the same, except let me spawn with my group. If I'm playing with no group, if I'm not partied up with anybody, then just keep it the way it is. Throw me in with randoms. That works if I'm not partied up. But if the game should know that I want to play with these people, and playing with them means more than just being in the same session with them.
Yeah. I mean, when you're up on the front lines, I can understand why they wouldn't want you to spawn with your squad, because you would be basically instantly reinforcing the front, you know? But
that's how in the last one it wouldn't let you do it if your partner was, in combat. They had to get somewhere kind of safe and secluded, and then it would let you.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's like, why don't they do that? I mean, just like maybe designate one person as the squad leader and you always spawn on him as long as he's safe. Or even just, leave you in your squad, but, you get spawned back a ways. Or just put spawn points in the game like we talked about earlier. And then that doesn't...
Yeah.
And, and then you can just run from there to meet up with your squad.
Or you can... how it is, but then when you're sitting there waiting, it leaves slots open for your buddies, and you can be like, "Are you dead?" And be like, "Yep, just wait 1 second, I'll be in there." And you could decide if you want to wait for them in your squad or let random people take it. I don't know. There's about a million better ways they could do it than what we've got. And even if they just give me the partner system from last game, that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't mind that once that was put in there. We had great success with that.
Make the squad mates more visible to you as well, so I can look at a giant group of people and know which ones are my 3 squad mates and which ones are just my other teammates.
Yeah, that was another annoying thing where it was all like, okay, stick close to your squad, and then, like you said, you could visually pick out your party members at least because they had their names would be in green,
and they had like a green silhouette you could see through walls.
Yeah. But that didn't matter much at all when they were on the other end of the spawning on the other end of the map from you.
It's the same deal in Starfighter mode too. It's like stick with your spawn. I'm like this, or stick with your squad. Like this is going to be even harder in Starfighter mode because everyone's just buzzing around like flies. I can imagine it would be really satisfying to like have a group of people who knew how to stay in formation in that mode. But that sounds nuts.
Flying V, Mighty Ducks style.
You'd have to actually practice. I bet like. Make private matches and be like, all right, we're going to try and figure this out. It really bums me out, the squad feature. Especially on the big maps.
Yeah, it's like, I think I saw someone else say it's like they just sort of slapped the name squads on this feature, and they were like, there, maybe that'll make people happy now. There's squads.
Like, it's almost like they're afraid of being accused of copying Battlefield. It's like you've got a good system in your other game. Just take that. You can change it a little bit if you want, but I mean, like, don't be done. Those are definitely my 2 biggest things that I'm really afraid are gonna hurt this game, either to the general public or to me personally, is the loot crates and the squad system. Because everything else I thought was pretty great.
All right, well, I guess that's going to do it, huh? For at least for our beta impressions. For now. I'm sure we'll have...
I'm sure I will have plenty more to bitch about this game in the future.
I didn't even have to say it. All right, well, in that case, let's see here. Have I done it in a while? I don't think I have, so maybe I should do it this time, huh? I can let you 2 rest your voices over after all that talking you did. I just agreed with everything you said. I'll take that as a yes. No one's voluntary. Okay, sweet. So
I'm resting my voice.
Okay, I'm glad. Hey, that's your moneymaker. If you want to find out all the cool things that happen to and with our patrons, the most wonderful, joy-filled people on planet Earth, who all live at Disney World, from what I hear, you can go to patreon.com/thejodocast. We really appreciate you taking the time just to even go look around and say, oh, that's pretty neat. And, maybe stick around, maybe you don't. But we appreciate everyone who has stuck around with us. So thank you again. If you want to listen to us, you can do so on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and our RSS feed for whatever podcatcher you prefer to use.
And YouTube.
Yes, we have. Our most recent episodes have gone up on YouTube. So if
you want to listen to the real old stuff, it's not on YouTube.
Tough luck.
New episodes that come out, we're putting up there.
So if maybe you have a friend who is like, podcasts, those are stupid. Those are so 2005.
But I love listening to YouTube videos.
Maybe they do. You never know. Like, I only listen to things on YouTube because that's where the real action is. I don't know. And if you want to talk with us, you can do so on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's all .com/thejodocast. If you want to watch us, you can do so on Twitch and the aforementioned YouTube, where you won't just listen to us and see a very pretty picture on your screen. You can see us doing things, like playing Star Wars games, as you might expect. I don't know. All right. And if you want to talk...
You really sold me on that one.
Hey, I'm not in the marketing department. That's all you.
Hey, he was more convincing than that guy on Monday Night Football introducing the Star Wars trailer.
Oh boy!
Did you guys did you actually watch the game to see the trailer, or did you just watch it on YouTube afterwards?
No,
I just tubed it.
I learned my lesson from Force Awakens, and I watched like the game, and then it went up on YouTube about like a second after it happened at the game. I'm like, I'll just wait for it to show up on YouTube.
Well, I put the game on since it was a Vikings game. I mean,
yeah.
True to form, it was a terrible game,
but they won, didn't they?
Yeah, well, it was a pretty. The only good part of the game is when they played Duck Duck Grey Duck.
I did see that part.
No, but the guy, the one sports announcer dude who was like, who was introducing the trailer, he's just all like, "Oh boy, so we got this Star Wars trailer thing," and I was like, first trooper guy here with me. Let's see the trailer, I guess." And then the trailer plays, and he's all like, "Wow, that was really awesome." And it was just like you could see it in his face and hear it in his voice. He was just like, "Are we done pandering to these nerds yet?
Was that?
Can I get back to my sports?"
Was that Chris Collinsworth? I feel like it must be.
I don't know. Like, I would know. The only person I think I saw, like, Randy Moss somewhere. That's like the only guy who I recognized or knew.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say John Madden. Like, the only football guy I know is John Madden.
Now what we got here is the Star Wars trailer.
Now, what they want to do is get the torpedo into the hole, and then it'll blow up, and boom!
Tough acting, connected.
Now, in order to blow tough acting, connected.
Boom! And got Brett Favre flying the X-wing.
Now, I'm going to tell you why Brett Favre is the best pilot.
And you make a turducken with that porg. You got a porg ducking.
Can you imagine John Madden giving the assault on the Death Star briefing? Just like circling shit with yellow lines everywhere. Now there's a small turbo exhaust port, and we're gonna blow it up. Right here.
This is all staying in.
I'm crying.
Yeah, you can just call this episode Leo Cries.
Sweet, everyone will listen to that one. That's what everyone's been waiting for. If you want to talk with us, I don't know if you do anymore, and other people, you can do so at our subreddit, reddit.com/r/thejodocast, and our Discord. And if you're a patron, you can hang out with us during times like this, and you can just shake your head in disapproval at us. So, yeah, but you don't have to be a patron to get on the Discord. You can just join and have fun and talk all day long with us about whatever. Doesn't matter. And you can find all that stuff over at jodocast.com. And you should go there to get the link to the Discord and it's a thing that happens. If you really, 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 really want to email us, you can do so. show@jodocast.com. Don't forget to let us know that you did, otherwise we'll probably miss it. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else really important that we need to talk about?
You nailed it, bro.
Sweet.
Good job.
Oh, thanks. Now all I want is John Madden Battlefront 2018. That's gotta be a thing.
That can be one of your Inktober sketches.
Ooh, perfect. Do it.
John Madden Battlefront 2018.
Oh, if there's a card for General Dodonna either in LCG or Destiny, just replace him with John Madden, please. All right, I think that's it. We're gonna go now. We'll talk to you later, or we'll talk at you later. There we go. Not with you, at you. Okay.
Well, if you come to Discord, we'll talk with you.
Hey, there you go. Oh, and you can talk with us if you become a patron. Just get that plug in there one more time. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.